This video is probably going to piss some people off, maybe even you, because I'm not here to sugarcoat the usual financial cliches. I'm about to challenge everything you've been taught about money, even the stuff that sounds smart but keeps people broke. But that's exactly why I shaped this video the way I did. For those who are tired of the same recycled tips, frustrated with the so-called gurus. For those who are tired of the same recycled tips and ready for something that actually works. This isn't for those who blindly follow gurus or repost quotes that they don't live by. This is for the people who are sick of the noise but still stuck. Let's start with the "you are not alone" moment. Let's be honest, it's the endless talk of diversifying portfolios and optimizing returns when all you really want to know is how to pay your bills without that spike of panic. It often feels like all this advice is designed for people who are already good with money, leaving the rest of us feeling judged, overwhelmed, and maybe a little bit broken. This isn't just a feeling. It's a widespread reality. Recent studies from 2025 show that financial anxiety is surging, with some reports indicating that nearly 7 in 10 Americans feel anxious about their finances. That stress worms its way into our sleep, our relationships, and even our health. But the problem isn't that you're bad with money. The problem is that for so many of us, money has become tangled up with fear, shame, and guilt. Avoidance becomes a coping mechanism. If you don't look at the bills, the problem doesn't exist, right? Of course, we know that only makes the anxiety worse in the long run. So let's try a different approach. Think of it as a rebellion against traditional financial tips. Forget the budget and find your focus. Let me tell you what I wish someone told me back when I was burnt out, working long hours, and still wondering why I felt broke at the end of every month. I thought that the solution was to budget better. So I downloaded 3 apps, color graded my expenses, made a spreadsheet, and still nothing changed. Because every time I heard the word budget, it felt like punishment for me, like the financial version of a crash diet. And here's the catch. Most corporate workers are too exhausted to track every coffee or ride share anyway. You've got deadlines, meetings, burnout creeping in. The last thing you need is another task that feels like it's squeezing joy out of your life. So here's the reframe. You don't need a budget, you need clarity. Call it your financial awareness system or your freedom tracker. Just don't call it a budget. This isn't about cutting out everything fun. It's about understanding where your money is actually going and taking back control of it. Because you can't fix what you can't see. And no, you don't need to track every day forever. Here's the plan. Track your spending like a detective, not a judge, for just 1 week. Open a note, use your banking app, or even scribble in a notebook. Don't moralize it, just observe it like data. Be curious, not critical. Then, and this is the key part most people miss, every 3 months, do a clarity check, because 1 week shows habits, but 3 months shows patterns, and patterns are what shape your financial life. You might discover you're spending hundreds monthly on food delivery you don't even enjoy, that new course you just bought, you never started it, or maybe you're paying for 3 or even more streaming platforms but only watch YouTube. None of these are inherently wrong, but when you start seeing them with clarity, without guilt, you get to make decisions based on your real values, not your financial autopilot. So forget budgets, reclaim your power through awareness. Not to limit yourself, but to free yourself, because the money you're losing isn't just cash. It's the peace of mind. And once you see that clearly, you never go back to blind spending again. Trust me. The second step is to put your money on autopilot so you don't have to think about it less. Willpower is a finite resource, and let's face it, managing money can drain it fast. So let's build a system that works for you, not against you. Start by automating 2 simple things. First, set up automatic payments for your major recurring bills. Think rent, a car payment, or your phone bill. This is huge. It helps prevent late fees and, more importantly, it clears up so much mental space when you're not constantly trying to remember due dates. Second, pay yourself first, even if it's a just tiny amount. Set up an automatic transfer of 5% or even 10% from your checking account to separate savings account every payday. The amount is way less important than the habit. This automates the act of saving, making it a default part of your financial life rather than an afterthought. It just happens in the background, no willpower required. Now, the power of tiny wins. Big scary goals like save $10,000 often leads to paralysis. It feels so far away. Why even start? So, our third step is to focus on micro goals. Your first goal isn't to become a millionaire. It's to build a small safety net, an emotional buffer against stress. Aim to save your first $500 in that separate saving account. This amount is significant enough to cover a small emergency, like a flat tire or an unexpected bill, but not so large that it feels impossible. An emergency fund isn't just a financial tool, it's an emotional armor. It can drastically reduce your anxiety and help you sleep better at night. Every time you hit a small goal, whether it's saving that first $50 or just your first $500, please celebrate it. This isn't frivolous. It's about rewiring your brain to associate positive feelings with managing money. We are aiming for progress here, not perfection. So you don't need suddenly to fall in love with personal finance to start winning with money. You just need a system that works for you, one that fits your real life, not some fantasy of perfection. Most people think managing money means tracking every coffee, feeling guilty for eating out, or obsessing over data. Actually, that's not freedom. That's a financial anxiety disguised as discipline. So here's the recap of the rebellion. Your roadmap to less stress and more control. Step 1. Forget the word budget. Just track your spending like a scientist for 1 week. Not forever, just 1 week. And not to restrict yourself, but to observe yourself. Because when you see where your money actually goes, you start spending more intentionally. Not because someone told you to cut back, but because your own goals become louder in your mind. It's like holding a mirror to your habits. That $6 impulse snack, now you see how it adds up. That late night Amazon checkout, it triggers a reminder. Is this aligned with where I actually want to go? This by itself builds a mental pause, a space between impulse and action, which is the birthplace of every lasting transformation. Over time, that pause becomes power. Step 2. Automate what matters. Set up your bills to pay themselves. Set up a small transfer to savings, even $20 a week. This isn't about the amount, it's about building momentum on autopilot. Because motivation fades, but systems stick. Even on your worst, busiest week, your financial progress continues. Step 3. Focus on tiny wins. You don't need to overhaul your life in 1 day. Just build an emergency fund, even if it's $500 to start. That small stack of cash becomes proof. I can handle this. I've got myself. And confidence compounds just like money does. These steps aren't about restriction or punishment. They're about building a system that removes the guesswork, reduces the stress, and more importantly, gives you back the mental space to focus on what really matters. You don't have to give your life to money, you just need to give it a direction. And that shift from avoidance to awareness, from guilt to systems, is what sets you free. You've got this. If you'd like to explore this topic a bit deeper, I've added a link below. Feel free to check it out when you have a moment. It's simply there if you want more tools to help you move forward. Bye.